Hey there. I just made a video, an introductory video yesterday for my new mini course on the fundamental steps to understanding how to see and paint the color of light. And I thought that I would share that introductory video with you, and at the end also share those 4 components. So I hope that you find this helpful. Welcome to the foundation of learning to see color. These are the basic steps to really grind down the understanding of what seeing the color of light means. It's very different than a lot of methods out there for painting. Something that most people are familiar with is what's called the local color, which is the green grass, green trees, blue sky, red boat, things like that, the actual color of an object. But what we are trying to do overall is learn how to see color the way Monet did, which is the color of light. How does light and atmosphere affect those local colors? So in a sunny day situation, the color that we see is going to be entirely different than a gray day situation. And that means that what we need to be looking at is color opposed to the object. So these fundamental steps that are going to be laid out before you in this course is going to teach you how to see this way. It's a brain shift. It's a new way of thinking and seeing. And it's really going to open your eyes and in some ways change your life, because when you drive down the street or walk down the street, wherever you go, you're going to see things so different than the average person. And that's the job of an artist, really, is to interpret nature or things in general for the sake of those that don't have the opportunity to paint. And they get to see things through your eyes and your interpretation. So have fun with this. You know, these are fundamental steps, so it's not jumping right into doing a full-on painting, but they are necessary and very important to the future paintings that you do of a scene or a still life or a person, because it applies to everything that light shines on and you paint. 4 components that are necessary in accurately painting light and atmosphere are hue. Hue being just another word for color. So when you're determining what color you should use to depict light and atmosphere, you really want to block or throw away any preconceived ideas about the object and look at the actual color that is before you. So for example, let's just say you are painting trees. One set of trees, it's a gray day. The other situation would be sunny. If you imagine the tops of the trees being hit by sunlight, how that affects the color of those green trees, in contrast to the gray day that has no sun hitting them, there is no warmth, and so it's actually a much cooler tone, or particularly in this case, a different color altogether. The next one is value. So this is the lightness or darkness of something. So what is the value of the particular thing that you're focused on? Comparing other things around it helps you make that determination, but that's very important to creating depth in your scene, creating form with your objects. Value is a very important component. 3 is saturation. So saturation is the brightness, or how much pigment there is in a color. For example, if you were to add white to a pigment, that desaturates or takes some of the color out. And Even if you were to add black into it, the same thing can happen. Or let's just say you add the complement of a color into another color. That will also desaturate or dull down a color. So saturation is a very important component when creating depth in your scene or showing differences amongst the objects that you're painting. The final and fourth component that is really important is temperature. So getting to know the temperature of your colors is huge. As was already mentioned, the difference between like yellow and blue, clearly yellow is warm, blue is cool. When you start getting into mixtures of paint, for example, the secondary colors, green, orange, and purple, they have components of the warms and cools on either side of them. And depending on, where they fall in relation to the primary colors on the color wheel will affect how warm or cool that color is. Let's just say we're talking about, let's say, blue and yellow again. We'll go with that. And so the secondary color is green. Well, if you add more yellow into that green mixture, it's going to be a much warmer type green versus if you add more blue into that green mixture, it's going to be much cooler. So within all the colors are cool and warm components. And understanding that, again, plays a major role in differentiating objects, particularly like with greens, for example, or showing distance. There's, the atmosphere, and also as it pertains to painting the color of light, it helps in depicting the particular light conditions. So if we've got sunshine, obviously the sun is creating warmth. So that gives you more warm type colors to use for that scenario. But if you are painting a gray day, then we have no sun. So then that makes our colors cool. So it takes us away from what's called the local color, the actual object's color, and puts us in a place of determining, okay, is that a cooler start or is that a warmer start? And so these four components are extremely important to be keeping in mind when you get your painting started, and it's in your starts that you set the tone for the rest of the painting.